a playoff spot by 3 points. So now we take a look at the updated standings. And yes, there are still some games in progress. But as we stand right now, Vancouver just 2 points out of a playoff spot. And I don't know if we would have said that was possible even 2 weeks ago.
You're right, and they got to keep pushing. Why? They've played the second most, tied for the most games that played in that division with 33, along with the team they played today in terms of the Sens. So they have to continue pushing, and the goaltending has been excellent. Thatcher Demko looks money now, has found his stride. Looks like the Thatcher Demko we saw in the postseason last year for them. Quinn Hughes continues to be among the top defensemen in terms of points scored, and their horses up front are going and they're playing harder. Take a look at their numbers against the Sens. They've absolutely aced them. And they got to continue playing the way that they've established their game rubber with really the last, say, 10 games. This looks like the team we thought they'd be.
Their special teams in those 10 games are off the charts. A
Yeah.
90% power play. I don't remember what, or sorry, 90%.
Penalty kill.
That'd be really good. 90% power
Okay.
Wow.
90% penalty kill, 34% power play. I mean, those are really good numbers. They can get you those wins. They're still up against it. Are they close? Yeah, they're close. But they dug themselves a bit of a hole early on this season where they're going to have to put together a nice stretch here to end up making the playoffs.
Part of the reason they dug themselves in such a hole is because they just can't play well against Montreal. And guess what? They have 2 games coming up in Montreal. So I think that'll be a pretty good measuring stick in terms of whether they're for real or not. When we look at the North in general, we talked briefly about this earlier, but when you take a look at Toronto and the way that they were running away with not only the division lead, but they were the NHL leaders for a long time in terms of points and points percentage. Now the Jets win puts them 2 points back. What's your level of concern with Toronto?
I don't have much.
Okay.
I don't have much. I don't love how they're playing. I think that this is still a team that's learning. I do think they are a different team this year than what we've seen in prior years. And, yeah, the way that they can win games now, and I just dated back, and I know it happened a while ago now, but those wins they had against Edmonton, keeping Connor and Leon off the board twice. They shut them out twice, did they not? And that didn't happen before. The Leafs wouldn't figure that out before or be able to do that before. This, what I think is happening right now, is a good thing for them because I was concerned there's going to be almost like a Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
You know, where you run away so much with your division that bad habits creep in and you're not playing the right brand of hockey before the playoffs. And we knew that was an issue when Tampa had that record year.
Oh, yeah.
So now, all right, in a dogfight. Now you got to play a good brand of hockey.
Okay.
If you want to win this division, you got to play good now. You got to play good tomorrow and in 2 weeks. That's what they're in. So I think this gives them a better chance to hit the playoffs rolling.
2 best things for me for the Leafs right now coming up, not named Austin Matthews or Marner. Joe Thornton's healthy, and Wayne Simmons is practicing.
He's back on the ice, right?
And that's huge for them. Why? Compass guys that have been there, played in Stanley Cups before, veteran players that can still contribute, that were, quite frankly, at the start of the season when the Leafs were off to such a great start, they were not only there for mentorship, they were there to perform. They were playing really, really well and provided elements that they hadn't had in their forward group, especially in the case of Wayne Simmons from a power forward standpoint, because we know they're so long on skill. Those are the main things for me with them. I think those 2 things can help them kind of get out of this lull that they're in right now. But at the same time, I'm curious to see what they're going to do on the trade market. You know, their GM, Kyle Dubas, has come out and said in that press conference that they do have prospects, which they do. Yeah. They do have pieces which are attractive to other teams, which they do. So let's see how he's able to leverage those and convert those into some good returns.
If there's ever a year for them to make that big move,
Totally.
Go for
it's
it.
now.
Yeah.
100%.
Each division winner in the playoffs gets to the Final Four.
Yeah, amazing.
So they don't have to go, wait, hold on a second. We don't have to go through Boston,
Exactly.
Tampa in the first round,
Or Vegas.
or second round even.
Yeah.
The third round, we would have to play one of those teams potentially, and you don't even know at this point which team that's going to be. This is the year that they just get there and get there looking good, to the trade deadline looking good. I think they make a big move here.
And also, too, let's consider this. Based on the quarantine rules and the way things kind of line up back home in Canada versus here in the U.S. and kind of how that can affect some of these deals, right? And if you identify a player or players that you want,
do it now.
It might behoove you to do it now, especially since we're talking North Division. Let's say the Leafs, for example, or any team. If you identify that player, because Winnipeg went through that, right?
Yeah, 14
Obviously,
days.
14 days with Pierre-Luc Dubois.
That's once they get there, so there's a couple days probably extra.
Correct. Plus, you know, any of the legalities and immigrational stuff around visas.
Sure.
So I think being proactive could serve you well if you're able to get what you want not limited to the Leafs, but any team. But since we were talking about the Leafs, I think that's a big factor. I agree with you, Rupper. If not now, when?
Yeah.
If not this year, then
we're going to go back to the other, and you never know.
Yeah.
Right.
Strike when the iron's hot.
Yeah.
Ain't going to get any hotter than it is this year with that division.
You're right, and we've heard the commissioners say that we can expect divisions to go back to what they were for the most part. Arizona joined the Central with the exception next year.
Sure.
So that means Tampa and Boston every single year.
Yep, steady dose.